Morning. We've had a good night. We didn't forget to do the clocks either. We're at a place called Wobbelin. There used to be a concentration camp here, and there's a memorial to it. I think there's nothing left of the concentration camp itself, but we're going to take a look at the memorial this morning. I'll show you where we parked for the night a little bit later, because we are going back there for a look at the castle. At the entrance to the camp is this stone. I'm not sure of its meaning. Obviously, because the camp didn't open till 1945, so whether it was a stone that marked the entrance or is a part of the memorial, I'm not really sure. But this is just as you turn off the road, and there's the camp in the distance. So let's go and take a look and see what we can find out. In this area, a satellite camp of the New Gam concentration camp existed from February the 12th to May the 2nd, 1945. On April the 15th, 1945, it became a reception camp for evacuation transports from other concentration camps. This concentration camp was actually called Wobbelin. On April the 30th, 1945, the American 82nd Airborne Division under Major General Gavin reached the Ludwiglust district. On May the 2nd, 1945, at this site, the All-American Division liberated the 3,500 survivors of the Wobbelin concentration camp. On the 7th of May 1945, 200 camp victims were given a decent burial near the Ludwiglust castle as a symbol of the everlasting value and dignity of every human life. Okay, this must be the area of part of the camp. Obviously, this is the memorial to it. I know it looks like it's a cracked pavement, but along it, in the actual bricks, are the names of the people that were here, or possibly the 200 that died. They're on both sides. I'll not show them all, but there are at certain points flowers of remembrance for these people. There's some more names. It's a very nice memorial. There's this in the middle as well. It's a symbol. Some memorials at the bottom. But these must be the 200 names of the people that died. I think it's nice that people still remember and have brought, you know, flowers and such like as a remembrance. Very nice, very different memorial. We're going to take a walk into the woods because there's actually more to see as well. We have noticed that actually some of these bricks have, rather than a name, have got a number. So I'm presuming that this is because whether they preferred to be a number or a name, or they don't know the name of the person, only the number. But I'm sure you're aware that the Jews were tattooed with their number that they were given by the Nazis. So I'm assuming that those were that person's or those people's number. As we're walking through the woods, you start to come across, you probably just see them, these white blocks, monuments stood up. I think this is a part of where the concentration camp was also. I don't think it was just that little bit down the bottom. So we'll see if we can find out what this part is all about. And these monuments or structures, there's no writing on them at all. It's obviously a symbol of what happened here or what was here to the people that died. Very nice quiet place, and I must admit it's a place I'd never heard of. And we all hear about Auschwitz and Belsen, places like that, but we don't generally hear about some of these smaller camps. I mean, this is right in the centre of Germany, really. We think we've figured out that actually they mark the corners of the buildings, so the places where the people would have slept or be kept. I mean, there's something that's growing here which kind of shows you a little bit about the length of what a building was. I think that's marking all of them. So there are several buildings that we can see that was around the camp, and then in the centre of it was that washroom. The degrading accommodation of the prisoners additionally was worsened by the disastrous sanitary and hygienic conditions. Thus there was just one single hand pump for the water supply of the prisoners in the entire camp. But this water was undrinkable, it was polluted and stank. He who drank this revolting dirty water became definitely sick. He caught stomach cramps and diarrhea. And that's a statement from what was an ex-prisoner at this camp. There's what looks like another accommodation block. That pump must have been somewhere here in the middle. So somewhere around that point there where that stand is. The accommodation for the prisoners were red brick buildings. On the ground it was teeming with insects. The roofs were not tight, and in most of the windows the glass was missing. There were no doors. Some prisoners built themselves sleeping racks from raw wooden poles and logs. Most of them, however, spent the night on the ground. The nights were very cold. He who still had a blanket but no longer had the strength to defend it didn't find it the next morning. Others had stolen it from him. This was the right of the stronger. This is the washroom. And since there was no water in the hut, strange place for a strange thing to not have for a washroom, which was meant to be the washroom, it was converted into a mortuary from mid-April 1945. From there, the prisoners took the dead bodies to the mass graves. In the last days of the camp, the deaths, however, were no more buried, but only stacked in the washroom. They didn't keep up to bury them all. They were stacked in the washrooms, which were located in the middle of the yard. The day the Allies arrived, they found 300 to 400 corpses. Unbelievable, really. And this is what's left of the washroom. So we're pretty much in the centre of the camp now. So you should be able to see there's a building there, second building over there, and then there's two more buildings there and there. I'm assuming that where the actual paved memorial bit must have been the entrance to the camp. We're heading our way, which would have been out of the camp now. We're going to drive to the castle, which is in Ludwiglust. We're going to park where we stayed the night, so we'll show you that as well. hopefully there'll be something marking the mass graves, or the graves of those that were buried there. Strangely enough though, there is no markings of where the mass graves were. So, or the site of where the mass graves were. So, unless that was where that memorial part was, unless that is where the mass grave is. Don't know, it doesn't tell us. Here's a photo that portrays the Wobbelin concentration camp, taken from, which I presume was 1945 or around that era. We're in the grounds of the Ludwiglust castle. There's this strange, I don't know what you call it, waterfall? Yeah. This is the first view of the palace we've got. I think you actually come around into the back. Here's the extensive gardens or park. We'll have a look around in a bit. So we're going to take a look inside first before we do the outside. That's if it's open. Yeah. Wow. So this is a palace. Very nice. Wow. This is the Golden Hall. Would often be called possibly the Grand Hall. Beautifully decorated. Really nice. Fantastic flooring. Look at the chandeliers. So this is a palace. Beautiful. It's 2 stories high and a balcony all the way around. So you could stand from above and see what's going on. There's a heater for the room. Very ornate. Fireplace as well. I presume this would have been the same, where they did the things from behind and in the walls rather than within the room. However, this just have openings on the front, but that's a heater. I'm assuming there's 2 more on the opposite side. This is the antechamber of the Duke. Nice ornate fireplace. Some gorgeous paintings. This is the Duke's audience chamber. So, not sure if it would have been a big chat, but that was a very big chair. This is the Duke's audience chamber. So, this is very...
Would you like me to take a photo of you both?
That would be nice, thank you very much.
I suppose so. Thank you very much.
This is the cabinet room. So I presume this is where he did all of his business. This is the what they call the picture gallery. There's the floor, which is quite stunning. But, here are the photos. Here are the pictures They're also like Romanesque, Greek-esque type models in here. So I presume he had a thing for Egyptology and Greece, plus things like Rome. But seems he also liked his paintings too. Quite a stunning room, and again, not as an elaborate chandelier. Candles look like we've seen better days. A bit bent, but there's a machine in this room that I think is measuring like movement. So I think it's tracking as people come in and go, and the movement within the room. I've no idea why. The models are absolutely fantastic, to be fair. Strange things to have made though. And the paintings are stunning. But I just can't get over the candles. There you go. Thought they could have afforded some straight ones, although it is beautifully cut glass. Really nice, well made. And this is the Duke's cabinet room. It's the final room in his private apartments. Wow, that is stunning. Really, really nice. And the chandelier too. Really nice. Nice room. And this is the Duke's bedchamber. There's an alarm going off for some unknown reason. I think Christine's worried that it was her that set it off.
How was me? Not bothered by
No.
this or anything.
Bedchamber, but no bed again. We noticed that on a few places. This is the Duke's living room. Somewhere in this room is a concealed door. So if you need, there it is. So if you needed to escape or get away, that was his escape route. I think at the time it would have been a lot better finished than that. So it would hide it, just stand out like a sore thumb. Again, some magnificent paintings. Beautiful room. This is called Marmorsal. So I'm not really sure what the meaning is of this room. It's obviously in need of a bit of work. I suppose it's under I suppose it's under some renovation. Not sure what the that's some sort of heater or a dehumidifier. That's quite modern. Just learned that Marmorsal means marble hall. So the walls are all marble. And I thought it was just cracked plaster. Just shows you how naive I am. The antechamber of the guest apartment. So the Duke was downstairs, and there's some fantastic paintings of leopards. Not a bad place to stay as a guest. This is the living room of the guest quarters. The floor is stunning. I do like the floors if they follow this. I wouldn't call it a theme, but really nice. So, the living room, and this is the bed chamber. Again, no bed. The one thing we do know is that people didn't necessarily believe in laying down to sleep. They thought they would die if they laid down, so they always slept sat up, but no bed to sit up on. And then there's these, which kind of has like a, is it a Wedgwood type feel to them, although they're not. This room was the wardrobe. There's very nice pictures, 3D pictures. There's seismographs again, measuring movement. Seem to have those all over this palace. I think this is the back of the fireplace, so you could fill that in possibly. The floor looks really nice. This is guest apartment 2, which will be the living room. We've got some what we call ivory treasures put in here. So all of these must be made from ivory, which, as we know today, would be a massive no-no. These were made many years ago. How intricate is that? From ivory, really nice. The carving is fantastic. I think the words I'd like to use is exquisite. This is bedchamber 2 of the guest apartments, but they have some miniatures in here. So these are those. Lots of them to see. I presume these are all members of the family and close relations, I would have thought. This is the guest apartments 3. It's a bit like an hotel really, I suppose. This is the bed chamber. And through into, let's have a look what we've got. The living room with mechanical and painted treasures. So those will be the clocks. It's a shame they're not wound up to keep good time, but they're quite cool. I think these are like calendars. That's a really nice clock there. A really nice collection of clocks. Quite like that one. Quite like that one too. This is guest apartment 3, the cabinet, and there's also treasures or things that they would use for the hunt. So horns, various daggers, presume they're for the kill. Some beautiful drawings and guns. What a fantastic set of guns. And they're for making the ball for the guns. So that's what you use to make your lead shot, melt the lead down. And that's what you use to form them. Very nice. This is the bed chamber of guest apartment 4. And now this wallpaper, it looks like it's 3D, but it's not. It's actually wallpaper. It's flat. And there's also a collection of coins. This is a living room from guest apartment 4, but it's also called the Russian room. There's another secret door. One's a bit better hidden. Fantastically decorated wallpaper. I don't know who the busts are of. Presume they're members of the family. A very nice room. Is it? It's a really nice picture. Hunting scene. That was the palace of a duke. I still don't know who he was, but yeah, it was alright. Wasn't too bad. Seen better, seen worse. We're going to head now for, I don't know if you can see it because of the sun, but there's a church over there. And facing the palace is this fantastic waterfall. Water feature, waterfall. I'll in relation to this, there's the palace. So yeah, it's quite nice, really nice. Apparently this was originally constructed in wood, so I imagine it wouldn't have looked anything like this. This is obviously been built later. Seemed to use the water from this stream and then it was diverted for this particular waterfall. I think it runs around and then joins back into what is in effect this, there's a lake. Very nice. Quite a nice lake, little lake that overlooks the palace. Very nice, and that feeds that, or this in the stream that runs through, feeds the waterfall. This is the cemetery of honour for the 200 victims of the concentration camp. It's a bit difficult to see, I think, with the sun, but there's the main memorial itself. And this is where the 200 were buried. So these would be the graves of each person wow, and now I'm shocked because I thought and expected them all to be Jewish, but they're not. Some of them are Christian. In fact, more a Christian than a Jewish. So maybe some of these were maybe they are people. Some of them are people had something wrong with them. Also, you have to remember that the Nazis didn't like the gypsies either, so they could be of gypsy descendancy. Who knows? But they're not all Jewish, and that has surprised me. I do know that putting a stone on a grave is something to do with the remembrance of that person, and there is a stone on that one which is a Jewish tradition, but very, very shocked that most of these are not Jewish, and I actually expected them to be. Surprised. I can't do all of them, but there'll be 200 of these in total. Just come over this side just to show it's of the same thing, that they're not all Jewish and that some of them are Christian. So this is the memorial to the Wobbelin camp that we was at earlier. From this position where we stood now, there is an old photograph taken from here of when all the bodies were put into the graves and the ceremony that went with it, and there's the photograph. We're going to take a look in this church now. We've been reliably informed that it is well worth a visit. I don't know how well it's coming out because we are walking into the sun. Yes, sun. So we'll see how we get on. Okay, we're in the shade now, so it allows me to get a bit better picture. But I'm told that, as I'll say again, we were recommended to come to this church. So let's go inside and have a look and see what and why it was recommended.
Eine halbe Stunde.
This is a Protestant church, Protestant Lutheran town parish church. How nice is this? And look at the clock on the ceiling. And that is the exact time as well. Here are some of the relics which we'll have managed to salvage from the church. So the hand, these are about 3 times the size of a man's hand, and they're just to give you an idea. There's a finger. See my finger next to it. And this. It's a really nice church. It's very strange having a clock on the roof. But all of the seating is in stalls as well. This is the back of the church. How fantastic is that? There's a balcony at the top. It takes you all the way to this, like it's a kind of a I don't know what to call it, like a dome sort of shape. Amazing. It appears that we can actually go down into a sort of a, I don't know if they call it like a crypt area, possibly, down there. We're going to see if we can get in. Let's have a look. I think this is a mind your head moment. Oh, it's just a store area. Smells great for coffee though.
Oh, silent. That's something interesting.
Yeah.
What's your head, Fred?
Yeah, got it. That is stunning. Really nice. Beautiful. I'm stood to the side of the altar at the minute, but this is just one massive painting behind the altar. It's huge. It's very different. Very nice. Very nice church indeed. We've just noticed that actually it's 3D. If I move backwards.
Sorry, please bring back.
Oh, I'll zoom in a bit, and it's difficult to see, but this is three-dimensional. So if I walk backwards and over to one side, I don't know whether you can see that, but there is things behind things. It's ever so strange. Some nice swans on the lake. It really is a nice little town. Back round by the waterfall again and the palace. We're having a walk round the grounds of the palace now, which is a beautiful park. This is the canal that runs through. There's other structures. Christine wants to come and have a look at this building, which we think is another church. It's a nice bridge, very picturesque around here, very beautiful. That's the church. This is a Catholic church. This is the Catholic Church of St. Helen. It's a very small church, very pretty though, very different. Really nice winding staircase which takes you up to the organ above. And some gorgeous doors. Nice church. Very nice. Stars all over the ceiling as well. this is where we spent the night. So as you can see, this is the car park for the palace, but behind is motorhome parking, as you can tell by the sign. And this is the where you get to you park on the hard standing bit, and then you get the gravel area to run your awning out onto. So this is where we stopped.